Hi, I'm Kimberly Allison from Starliner Music. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to continue with my series entitled Blues Solos with Comping. In this series we take a 12-bar blues and go back and forth from lead guitar to rhythm guitar accompaniment, otherwise known as comping. First I'll perform Blues Solo with Comping in the key of E number 9, and then I'll break it down for you. Here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Alright, let's break down Blues Solo with Comping in the key of E number 9. In these 12-bar exercises, we go back and forth between lead guitar and rhythm guitar accompaniment, otherwise known as comping. So I've divided the 12 bars into 3 parts, and in each part we'll play a lick, do some comping, play another lick, and then return to the comping. So we'll be alternating between rhythm and lead. And this particular exercise is a focused study in the E major pentatonic scale. Now within this E major pentatonic scale, I've included a passing tone, which is sometimes referred to as the major blue note, and that is the flatted 3 of E. That would be the note G. So now we've taken our pentatonic scale, the major pentatonic, and we've added one extra passing tone. So now we have 6 notes that we're working with. So let's look at the fingering. Now this fingering is what's termed as the C shape in the land of caged, if you understand the caged system. So let's look at the octave pattern first. This is a C octave pattern shape for the root E. So what that means is we have this shape and we're going to be placing the scale over the top of this E octave. And my scale looks like this. So that's the E major pentatonic with the inclusion of the major blue note. And we're going to move on now to part 1 of our 12-bar exercise. So we're going to start with an approach slide into the 6th fret on the 3rd string. I'm using my middle finger. And then we play the root E here. And then we're going to bend the 7th fret on the 2nd string up about a half step. And this is bending into the minor pentatonic scale. So that's the minor 3rd of E. And then I play the note not bent. So. And then I go into a hammer-on pull-off combination. And then I play the 6th fret on the 3rd string. Back to the root. And then I go into the comping. So the comping is the low open E, and then an approach from underneath E9. So we're going to go D sharp 9 into E9. And then we go on to our next lick. So the next lick starts with that same half step bend. So bend into the minor 3rd, play the string not bent, root E here, 6th fret, and then we play this again, root, and then we play the 4th fret on the 3rd string. And that note is a B, and we're ending our phrase on that note B because it is a chord tone of E7. So this is the 5th of our chord. So it helps to mark the chord changes if you begin or end phrases on chord tone. So we're ending our phrase here, so it's a good idea to use the chord tone. So we're ending on the 5th B. And then we go back into our comping that we used before. So the approach from underneath the E9 chord. Let's put all that together. Here's part 2. So I'm going to start part 2 with a lick that's actually previewing the harmony of the next measure. The next measure is where we go to the A7th chord change, or our 4 chord, and we're already starting to play that chord change a little bit early. This is typical. This is what's called an anticipation of the chord, and we're going to use chord tones of A here. Now we're still staying within the E major pentatonic, but I'm targeting notes in an A7th chord. So the double stop consists of an E and a C sharp, and those are the 5th and the major 3rd of our A chord. So we're going to play this in a triplet rhythm. And then I'm going to go down the scale and include that G natural. That G natural is important. Again, it's helping to preview the harmony of A7 because G natural is the 7 on an A7th chord. And then I end the lick on the note E. So, and E is the 5th of my A7th chord. So we hit the note E right at the beginning of the A7th bar. So I'm starting that bar, or finishing my phrase, on a chord tone of A. And then we go into the comping. And the comping is the open A note, and then an approach slide into an abbreviated A9th chord. So now this abbreviated 3-note voicing is the flatted 7G, the 2nd, which is the same as the 9th, that's B, and then the note E, that's the 5th. And then we go back into another lick. Again, we're going to incorporate that G natural into the lick because it's a chord tone of A, and it's that major blue note, the passing tone that we've added into the scale. And the lick sounds like this. Here's my G natural. So the rest of the scale was just E major pentatonic. And I ended that phrase on an E, and that's because I'm leading back into the E chord, the 1 chord. And at that point, I will go into the E comping that we used before. So again, we're just going to do an approach into the E9th chord. So let's put that together. On to part 3. So we're going to start off with a half-step bend, and I'm bending here the 6th fret on the 3rd string, and I'm bending into the minor pentatonic scale here. Actually, I'm bending into the chord tone. I'm bending to the 7 of E, that's a D natural. And then I'm going to stay in the major pentatonic. But notice I end right here on an F sharp, and that F sharp's part of my scale, but it's also part of the 5 chord B. So I'm leading into the 5 chord B7th, and I start that bar on a chord tone on F sharp. That's the 5th. So I'm introducing the B7th chord change with that chord tone, and then I go into 9th chords. So this is a B9th chord. So I'm using that in my comping, and I'm walking it down chromatically to A9. So that's the movement of the 5 chord down to the 4 chord in our 12 bar. And then I'm going to move into this lick, which is a pull-off triplet. And then I'm going to come down the scale using that passing tone, the G natural. Now, that's important here because, first of all, the G natural does give it more of a bluesy feel, but we're still kind of on the A7th chord change here, so again, that G natural is part of the A7th chord. And then when I arrive at the note E here, at the 7th fret, that's the root of my E chord change, and I'm on the E chord change at that point. And then I go into a turnaround. So in the turnaround, I'm going to be walking down this note chromatically D, chromatically down to B. And between each of those notes, I'm going to be including an open E. So we have D to the open E, back to the D, and move it down chromatically. And then we're going to play this as a double stop. So what's significant here with this type of double stop turnaround is that I start on chord tones. The D is the 7th of the E7th chord, the E is the root. Then I have some chromatic tension moving down. And then I arrive at B, which is the 5th of E, that's a chord tone, and then the root again. So I'm starting and ending on chord tones. And then I'm going to approach the 5 chord chromatically from underneath, so I'm going to walk up an abbreviated A7th up to a B7th. So this is a 3-note dominant chord voicing. This is the root A, this is the 7, G, and then here's the 3rd C sharp. So that's A7 up to B7. And then I'm going to end this exercise on an E9th. And so the voicing here, again, we used it earlier, but it's the root, the 3, the 7, and then the 9th is here. And if you want, you can add the 5th again to the top of the chord. So that's my E9th voicing. Let's hear that one more time. That's it for Blues Solo with Comping in the key of E number 9. I'm Kimberly Allison from Starliner Music, and I hope to see you back on my channel soon.